For demonstration purposes, I will be using a number 10 brush, but if you want to do smaller leaves, I would suggest going down to a number 6 or a number 4 round. I'm using sap green and just diluting with water, and I always tap off the excess paint on paper towel. To create the first leaf, I'm putting the point of my brush on the paper, then pressing gently, getting the belly of the brush, and then lifting. I'm just adding a bit more pigment so you can see this better. So push down, pull it back, and then gently lift your brush and it will thin out. If you have any extra water, so you see that little drip, just touch it to the paper, touch your brush again, and it will lift off any excess paint. So I'm going to create another leaf, the same style. Take the tip of your brush, touch the paper, push down the belly, pull it back a little, and then lift off gently. You can create different lengths of leaves just by how long you pull it back. I'm now going to create a little branch with various leaves, all the same style. So I'm just put a stem, then I just touch, belly, lift, touch, belly, lift. And if you have any extra paint sitting at the end, you can see it pooling, just take your brush, tap off the extra paint on your paper towel, and then go and lift until all the extra pigment's gone. Another tip is whenever I'm creating leaves, I try to do it in odd numbers, and I usually have a leaf at the end of the stem so that it looks finished. For this next leaf, I'm going to start with the point, pull my brush away from me, and as I do, I'll push down the belly, do the turn, and come back, and as I do, I'm going to lift up to the point again. When doing this style of leaf, it's very nice to sometimes just to leave a hint of a white line between the two sides as you come back. You may find it difficult to do this style at first, but with practice, you're going to find it's actually quite easy. But in the meantime, you can achieve the same type of leaf just by breaking it up into 2 steps. So if you do one side, then lift your brush and do the other. And then if you have too much of your pigment and you see it pooling, just take your brush, tap it out on the paper towel, go back to the leaf, and just lift until you don't have any of the paint pooling. When creating leaves, you're using either the point or the belly of the brush. It just alters depending on the look of the leaf. So for this one, I'm just starting with a point and I'm pulling it back a bit, then gently going to the belly and then lifting again. And if you keep doing this style, if you just turn the direction of your brush as you pull, you get a very natural bend to your leaf. You can use this style for tulips or blades of grass or various other flowers. To create more depth to your leaf, you can just add a little bit more pigment. As long as your leaf is wet, the paint is still wet, you can go back and play with it without doing any staining or marks. So as you can see, I'm going along the edge, but it looks too much like an outline. So I'm just going to grab a little bit more pigment, and I'm going to go over that edge and blend the edge into the other side just by going along it. And now I go from a dark to light, giving more depth and shape to my leaf. Next, I'm going to create a branch with just tiny little leaves using the tip of my brush. So I'm just mixing up a little bit of a darker green, adding some indigo to my sap green, and just grabbing a little bit of sepia for my branch. So just with the point of my brush, I'm going to lightly go and draw a line, and then just have little branches coming off of it. Make sure when you do this that your lines aren't completely straight, that they have some bends and curves, because that's what makes it look more natural. Once you're happy with your branch, just grab some light green, take the tip of your brush, and gently just push the point against the paper. And right now you're not seeing too much because I am using the light green, but I will then use a darker green as a contrast, and it gives the overall branch depth when you see it all together. So I've started putting some of the dark, and it's very tiny, but as you go along, you will see how the branch starts to come to life. This is really great if you want to do little fall trees that are kind of stylized as well. You can do it with some reds and oranges and yellows. Now when you add the leaves, you want to add them to the little branches you've created, but you can also just have them coming off the side of a branch because it will still look very natural. I'm now creating a different type of branch in which I'm using the sepia to create my branch. Same thing, just draw a nice thicker branch for this one, do a few little branches offshooting it. Never let them be completely straight or it won't look natural. So I do some tiny ones off them as well. And then I'm going to create some leaves using the technique we did right at the beginning. So for each leaf, I'm just going to go from the branch, and I'm going to start with the point, and I'm going to just pull it a little, push down to the belly, and then lift again. Now we're going to create a leaf with serrated edges. To do this, just paint a leaf shape, but you must keep it very wet, because once you get the shape of the leaf, you're going to evenly pull the pigment across the leaf, and then you're going to take the tip of your brush and you're just going to go from the outside edge and pull it in, creating little points along the edge of the leaf. If your leaf is too dry, you're going to see all these points. If the leaf is nice and wet, then those pigments will blend beautifully and it will all appear to flow in one little movement. Please be sure to hit the subscribe button if you would like to see more of my videos. Be sure to ring the bell if you'd like to get notifications when I post new videos. Thank you for watching.